Yeah, 307 Reacts.
Yeah.
I'm Matt. That is Chris.
Yeah.
You guys are the best audience in the world. Verified, certified. If you don't believe me, go to his Instagram and Facebook. He's got the blue check mark. So you heard it here first. Verified, okay? On the screen in front. Oh, wait. First things first. I got a new PC. Ready? I'm going to show it to you. Check this out. Pretty sick, right? You want one of those? You looking to get one of those? You want to play some computer games, do some digital editing, creating things like that, content creation, music studio stuff. You want to do all of it at the same exact time on 2 different screens or 4 different screens? Our buddy Alex Rich can help you out. He runs Rich Bros Gaming. The information is in the description below. If you have any questions about PCs or honestly networking or video game stuff, I mean, he's pretty savvy with all that stuff. So if you have any questions or you're looking to get into that market, get a hold of him. I'm helping him do some promotion since he helped me build this beautiful monstrosity. And so we're just helping him out, get started with that. So any questions, get a hold of him. Information below. Now, if you were here for yesterday's video, on the screen in front of us is a video called How to Survive an Ambush, Becoming Deadly in the Mountains, Part 4. Yesterday, we watched the first 14 minutes and 20 seconds, I believe, of this video. And we decided we're going to make it a 2-part video because it's like 30 minutes long. And so we watched about half of it, stopped, and now we're going to watch the other half. Can you recap what happened in the first half?
So in the first half, they describe what an ambush is. And there's a couple different types of ambushes. There's a hasty ambush and a planned ambush. And there's also a near ambush and a far ambush. Now, they walked through the scenario of what a near ambush looks like and how you should react to that. Basically, near ambush is anything within 38 yards or grenade throwing distance. They specify your 2 options in a near ambush is die or fight through. Like, those are your only 2 options. And they played a scenario, like, if you guys are just coming here today, please watch yesterday's video. It's so
crucial,
good.
and it's so good.
But yeah, so now they're kind of breaking that down a little bit, talking about their movements and why they moved the way that they did. And then I believe the second half of this video is going to simulate a far ambush.
Yeah, I would assume, Really good. Please, if you're along for the ride, hit that subscribe button. If you like this kind of content, let us know in the comments below. We love to engage with you guys and react to the comments. Any responses you get, it's all us. This is the whole team right here. So we run everything. We do everything. If you're getting responses or emails or anything from us, it's us. So we love hanging out with you guys and hearing the discussion. We love ideas for new videos. So if you're along for the ride, help us out. Hit that subscribe button. You 81% of you that aren't subscribed, I see you out there. We see you. That's the call out. Let's go. Okay.
Me, who's Bravo team, we bound it up while they provided a little bit of suppressive fire. Once we got up onto there, our saw gunner was in a much better location. And so in this case, we do have some type of heavy weapon, being a saw. To be clear, a 308 battle rifle, many things can kind of take that place, but somebody who has some overwhelming firepower is a good thing to have. So once we get online, if you want to talk about your side of it, Adam.
Yeah, sure. So lucky for us, we saw the contact. We were able to call it before we were initiated on. You know, their team, Bravo team moved up, Alpha team supported. We moved up to the line, kind of did an assessment of what was going on, decided that utilizing the terrain here, this terrain up here, the little gully we're in, we were going to need to utilize that terrain to maneuver. So I called for Alpha team to maneuver. We moved behind safely and then moved up into, again, creating that L or the V, whatever you want to call it. We're essentially forcing the enemy forces we're forcing them into a decision point. And basically we're taking away options as much as we can. We want to completely eliminate their ability to maneuver anymore. So we moved up into that position. The most dangerous part of us initiating an assault, right, in a counter ambush, is the communication between the 2 elements now, because we're disparate. A very overwhelming fire. There's only 4 of us here in this demonstration, but if you could imagine 9 guys and most of them don't have suppressors, you're really not going to be able to hear anything. Plus the incoming fire is unsuppressed, most likely. So we pulled out a smoke. A smoke is a great way. They're readily available. Airsoft companies have made smokes pretty.
They're actually pretty dang good.
Yeah, they're pretty dang good. They're available.
EG-18s, I believe. Is that correct, Micah?
EG-18X.
Yep.
I think X is the military simulation.
There you
it
go.
puts
Yeah.
out almost as much as an M18,
Yep.
or just about as much. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
and they're a little smaller, lightweight. I mean, they're not waterproof,
Yeah.
but it's a great option. You can get them, and we basically use that as a visual cue. Once we got into kind of our assault line, we basically through the smoke, and that's telling Bravo team to take some steps.
Yep. So on
Oh.
our side, we're going to be shifting fire. So
I wasn't sure what they were using the smoke for because he threw it.
Because it
and
wasn't
then
covering.
It wasn't
much.
covered.
Yeah.
He threw it and then they moved like fucking 5 seconds later, 6 seconds later, whatever. So I was like, I don't understand the purpose of the smoke. It's literally for communication for them
Yeah.
to go, hey, we're good up here, move up. Like we're moving, it's your turn. Like it's just a legit smoke
Because they're
signal.
far enough away that they can't really hear them.
And he
So,
made a good point with the in real life, you're not going to have suppressors.
Yeah.
And there's going to be
Or
more often than not.
Some people do, but more than likely.
More than
like,
likely,
yeah.
no suppressors, and more than likely, more than 4 guys fighting against one
Yeah.
other opposition. You're going to
Yeah.
have 4
Or-
v4, 5, 10, whatever
Yeah.
it may be. So it's going to be very, very loud.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I can't imagine how loud that actually is.
Oh, it's
never
gotta
been
be
on
insane.
Never been on a battlefield, but I
Yeah.
and I don't want to be. Just for the record, just want to get that out there. But I imagine it's probably absolute chaos when guns are ringing like that.
And this guy does have some videos on his YouTube channel of what gunfire sounds like when it's shot past you or over you.
Oh, yeah.
And so him and his Micah, the guy who's the camera guy for this episode, they'll sit down in a ditch with a microphone. He's got a microphone with a little fuzzy thing on it and shit.
Little windscreen.
And he'll fucking sit there and hold the mic. Okay, yep, we're ready when you are. And then he'll like test fire. He goes, okay, yep, elevation's good, go ahead. And they have a guy shoot over the top of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so this is what an unsuppressed round sounds like. This is what a suppressed round sounds like. This is what
That's cool.
a subsonic versus supersonic round. Like,
That's way cool.
Subsonic sounds crazy, dude. It sounds like almost Star Wars just.
If you want us to watch that video, only because of my pure interest in what that sounds like and audio recording and engineering and all that, that's amazing. Let us know in the comments because I would be down to check that out. I think that would be a fun one to watch. All right, shall we?
Yeah.
To take some steps.
Yep, so on our side, we're going to be shifting fire. So obviously, we're going to be having Alpha Team assault through. So we can't be firing at that same location that they're going to be moving through
Thank you.
because then we're going to be killing our own guys. So you shift fire. So you still want to keep good, shots around that location. By shifting fire, you're moving in opposite of that team that's assaulting through, so they still hear those zips, those cracks, those impacts, and that they still believe that they are under accurate suppressing fire. Now, once we're able to shift fire, that allows for our guys then to move through and assault through that location. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you did bounding, correct?
Yeah, we did a bound. Just because the terrain is so open, when we got to our position up there, we saw that it was basically flat terrain. We have there's really no defilade to move to, so I decided to call bounding. So basically we just, IMT'd one person, moves at a time, the other.
Which I have done this exercise before with a guy who was military or former military. Basically, the one guy moves forward, and as soon as he starts shooting, our second guy starts to move, and then he'll lay down basically in a line. And then our first guy is going to start moving again once he hears his buddies start firing. So you do hear bullets past. I mean, you're not within, unless your buddy's a fucking retard, okay, he's not going to hit you. You leave a good space. But it does sound. You're like, dude, this guy's gonna fucking shoot me.
That's crazy.
like it's crazy. But yeah, so that's bounding. You have forward meet, forward meet, forward meet. Like
Makes sense.
It's pretty cool.
It's tactical.
Yeah.
We have there's really no defilade to move to, so I decided to call bounding. So basically we just, IMT'd one person, moves at a time, the other covers. So we're actually our own supporting element at that time as well. So we're starting to put accurate fire on enemy positions while the other guy moves, and then we're swapping so we can move forward more. Once we had, once we'd gotten further into the assault, we saw that, hey, the enemy forces had been dispersed or eliminated. That's when we would stop utilizing those movement techniques, and then we would just get up and start moving through the the impact area.
Now, as we're going through the impact area, this is a point at which we're going to be lifting fire on
Yes.
our side. So the supporting element lifts fire. So we literally are going to aim our weapons up over the top of the heads of everybody, and we're going to continue to fire. Again, those whips, those snaps, the sound of the rounds going overhead is going to be at least something, if there's anybody left at this point as our assaulting element is coming through, to keep them suppressed as best as we can.
Yeah.
So again, it's a dicey situation, but
So
And it's all mind games, which is crazy.
I may have misheard that. Kind of was thinking, I was just had scenarios and shit running through my head from this, but
yeah.
when they call the lift fire, was he saying that one of the teams will still shoot in a different direction? They'll just still they're just basically making noise.
So the Bravo. Okay, so Alpha Team did their bound.
Yep.
They get up to where enemy position is, right? Then Alpha Team calls a lift fire. So Bravo, it has been basically like, they're like, okay, the enemy's right here in front of us. Instead of shooting right there where the enemy is, previous to this, they were shooting a little to the right because they know the Alpha Team is moving in from the left.
Yeah, okay.
And they don't want to tag their own guys. So Alpha Team gets to a position where the enemy was. They call a lift fire. So now Bravo is still firing off to the right, but now they're just going to lift their guns a little bit and shoot bullets over the top, just in case there's anybody left or the enemy's still running the other direction. They're like, shit, they're chasing us. Like, there's still bullets being shot at us. Like, it just keeps
Constant
the enemy
force.
moving.
That's just always bullets. Mm-hmm. Bullets don't ever stop being fired.
I thought it was crazy when a guy, he was I think he was former SOCOM, I think it was. I was watching an interview with him, and they go, yeah, when you went out in the field, like, what did you typically take with you? And he talked about his AR, and he talked about his pistol, and then he said, I always take 11 mags with me. I'm like, 11?
Wow.
That's a lot. But then you run into scenarios like this, and it's like, you can burn through. I mean, shoot, when we went shooting, you could burn through a mag, like,
pretty quick.
no time.
Pretty quick. Yeah, it doesn't take much.
So if you're out there doing this, and that was, maybe 5-10 minutes max of shooting?
Maybe.
They probably went through 200 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, each,
yeah, I was
maybe?
gonna say, it could have been more. Yeah, it's, yeah. It just never stopped firing. If there's constant fire like that, you're burning through rounds. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Bullets, man. That's wild.
To keep them suppressed as best as we can.
Yeah.
So again, it's a dicey situation, but it's been proven time and time again to work well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of kind of, as long as we're fighting with projectile weapons, even if you know these tactics, if they're executed correctly against you, you're just not going to have a lot of options because they're all about eliminating options for the opposing side. So even though you know that in an ambush, if they were trained by Western, forces, they're going to be doing certain things, or an assault, they're going to be doing certain things. If they're doing it right, they're still just going to eliminate your ability to make any decisions that are good.
Absolutely. And so once you guys assaulted through, you hit the LOA, if you want to explain that, because a lot of people have no idea what LOA stands for.
Yeah, so LOA, it gets confusing for guys. It doesn't need to be. LOA it can be decided by the lead element. It could be terrain-based. I mean, if you come to the Grand Canyon, right, you can't like fight through the Grand Canyon, so it's an LOA. It could be objective-based, all sorts of things. But essentially, we're calling LOA, and we're letting all of our...
stands for limited
of advance.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, limit of
okay.
advance.
These acronyms. They
Okay.
Yeah, we're limiting the advance of the
it?
element. So I'm telling everybody, stop where I am. And then they're all going to get online, and there's some after-action stuff that we're going to be doing online, like getting, casualty reports, ammunition count, all of that kind of stuff. Enemy KIA, we're going to start exploiting that, those things as well.
There is a ton that goes
So
into.
much.
We just had an ambush. We assaulted through. They dispersed. We killed them all. We are talking several more weeks of training. We don't want to get into that because, again, we want to keep this as focused as we can. But understand that there's a lot more at this point. Again, we showed you one scenario for a near ambush, but this is very well a situation that you could have been in. And these were all good, sound decisions that were made in order to limit the options of the ambushing force. So now that we've shown you near ambush, we're going to go ahead and show you far ambush. So let's get to it.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Buckle up, boys. Let's do it.
So setting the scene here, we're about 2/3 of the way up the hill right now. We're traveling along. You can see we're in this nice little draw right here going towards the hilltop over there, and over that hilltop is getting into friendly territory. So the enemy has ascertained that we're going to be using somewhere in these foothills, most likely along this one right here, as our route of travel back home. So they are set in place, they are far, they weren't able to quite get in place. This would be more in the lines of a planned ambush because they knew we were probably gonna take this route. So you can see right up there, that is our ridge. So when we start taking fire right here from across this valley, we're gonna need to get into a safe area, which is gonna be over that hill due to the fact that we are on the military crest right now.
So military crest
Got her? There it is.
refers to how you travel along a hill. You never want to travel on the very top because your whole body's silhouetted.
Yeah, because then it's easy to see the
Yeah, it's
outline.
really easy to see you. So they always pick a couple meters just down the hill and travel that way, because then there's a chance that they can blend in a little better with the terrain behind. They have a backdrop.
You have at least something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what that
I like that.
refers
Okay.
to.
It makes sense too.
Yeah.
Think about the way certain animals travel, like deer and antelope and stuff. They're kind of the same way. You never
Yeah.
really
You never really see 'em
They'll
right
be
up
on
on
the
top.
ridge every once in a while, but usually it's because they're transitioning from one side to the other.
Yeah.
They don't hang out up there. Usually they're
No.
walking along the sides of the.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Or even like, you watch, oh God, what's that guy's name? He's that old guy who was a sniper and now he plays Battlefield and he always like teaches people how to snipe on Battlefield. The dude is insane. But he always talks about, look at this dumbass sitting up on top of a building. Look, I see his head right there and he's like 1,200 meters away.
Yeah, I can see you, dude.
I can see you.
Yeah, because you're silhouetted against the blue sky.
Yeah.
Something about that building doesn't look right. Yeah,
crazy.
There you go.
The fact that we are on the military crest right now.
Contact right! Loading! Bravo! Take it back! Bravo! Bravo, move! Bravo, move!
It's a long ridge.
A long ridge. And they're using that same bounding technique
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Bravo, move! Moving!
God, that's a long ridge.
God, that's a
That's
long
a Wyoming ridge if I ever
no
seen
shit,
one.
right?
buddy.
Come up over the top and the hill just keeps going and going and going.
damn.
Yeah, dude.
Bravo, move!
Same, bro.
Yeah. Oh, there's a ridge.
She's back!
Okay, we're gonna be talking about fire ambushes. So we're talking about anything beyond that grenade range. That can encompass a huge number of scenarios.
Sure.
So you have to understand, once again, we're only gonna be able to show you one possible outcome, one possible tactical decision that we're making here. So in the scenario that we have right here, we are post that near ambush. We are now egressing through the hillside, trying to get back to friendly territory, and we are traveling along the military crest. Do you want to define the military crest for our audience right now?
Yeah, sure. Military crest, if you think of a ridge line, which is where we never want, it's almost like a road. We don't ever want to be on top of the ridge, skylighting ourselves, creating a backdrop. The military crest is coming off of the ridge.
Okay, is that why they were talking about the road earlier? That's why you don't ever want to step on a road? Is because it's that you can see.
You can see, and it's a common way of transportation.
Okay,
like, I mean,
sure.
if you're moving through enemy territory, the less the enemy knows about you, the better.
Yeah, fair.
So it might be, you might cross the road and there might be a villager who happens to be, an informant or whatever, and if he sees you, like, your cover's blown.
True.
They know where you're at.
Yeah.
So they always want to stay away from that type of
Makes
stuff.
sense.
Depends on the terrain, but however many meters you would go. You're just going to come off the side, and you're going to follow along the ridgeline still, but below the ridgeline itself.
So what I've always told people is like 1/3 down or 2/3 up the hill, somewhere around those, that approximate parameter. But so we are post that near ambush. We survived it. We're trying to egress back to friendly territory, and on the way back, the original enemy that we hit has figured that this is the most likely route, that we'll probably be going through these foothills right here, and they're going to initiate a far ambush. In this case, they're going to be very far. So we're going to show you one possible outcome here, and essentially what's going to happen, as you can see in the video, is once we took that initial fire, we're going to prone out as we usually do, because we start taking rounds near us. So we prone out, we are able to ascertain that the enemy is quite far, probably beyond about 400 meters.
Oh,
so
dang.
at that point, what are we going to do, Adam?
Well, we're going to have to measure what's going on in terms of contact. Is the fire effective or is it not effective? And is our purpose to, make contact and then assault through, or to make contact and then egress? In this case, we're going to try to leave. We're trying to leave this engagement. So we're going to, react to contact, get online, and then we're going to break contact essentially. And we're going to use a technique, bounding technique is what we're going to use.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing successive bounding.
Yep, successive bounding, which means that we're going to be falling back to each other each time we bound. And we do that just as a command and control. You can also alternate. You do alternating bounding where you would go past each other each time. So
when we do this, we're basically going to do it until we're in a position that's more safe. So right now we're on the hillside that is exposed to the enemy, which is somewhere in the hills right here. And we're going to be going on the opposite side of the hill. And then at that point, we're going to reassess what's going on, figure out what the best course of action is, and that would be a completely different video.
Yep.
So we're going to show you guys what that looks like at this point.
let's do it.
Okay, so we just reacted to the far ambush. What's rule number 1, cardio?
Yeah, cardio. It's very important. Very important. Physical fitness in general.
Physical fitness. Bounding up the hill sucks, but that's it's part of the LARPing life.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's never a place you want to find yourself. You don't want to find yourself in contact, and having to fight either uphill or even having to egress uphill is really not a good place to be in.
So obviously once we got up and passed over the ridge right here and we were out of the sight line, what we're going to do is we're going to reconstitute, figure out what the game plan is going from there, whether we continue on to friendly or whether we think there's going to be another ambush. There's a lot of things to think about at that point, and again, this isn't what we're going to be going into right now. We're just talking about surviving the ambush.
Yeah.
But you have to understand it's not over once we've broken that contact. Like, those guys still had that last sight line here. So like things we always talked about in SEER was like time, distance, terrain, right? It's like at that point we got to boogie. We got to get going.
We got to get out of here. So you're already smoked. And
Keep
this
going.
is actually just the start.
Yeah.
That was the warm up.
Yeah, no shit.
To the actual workout.
Yeah.
So now we're going to try to egress a couple of kilometers, put a terrain feature in between us,
You're not on the stairmaster.
potentially set up our own ambush.
Exactly. Counter ambush, that was a big thing we went to. Totally different, getting really into the weeds. Point is, get on the Stairmaster and get fit. What were some other things we could have done down there that we didn't show?
Yeah, so we totally could have used, and we should have used, if it's available to us, smoke for screening. Anytime that we're in an ambush that is not near, we want to pop smoke in front of us. And even if we're making decisions on an attack after that, it's just going to screen us, right? If we throw smoke out, they can't see you. You start dispersing, so, moving, again, extending that base out wide. You're basically going to eliminate their ability to pick you off one by one.
And the thing to always remember is that depending on the person that you're engaged with, remember that thermals do see through smoke. So just because you have smoke up doesn't mean you're magically have the wall of invisibility. Technology has changed, but it's still a really good idea, because probably not everybody's going to have thermal or have them, especially during the day when they're not quite as effective.
Sure.
So it's a really good thing to do to pop smoke. So
Absolutely.
as a quick note there. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways we could have handled that situation. Being out in a field, we would have handled it differently. Being in an urban situation, but doing successive bounding to get outside of a kill zone, especially in a far ambush,
Sure.
absolutely a thing you could and would do in many cases.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially this case right here.
So we've kind of gotten to the end of our how to survive an ambush. As you can see, guys, we could barely scratch the surface for you because we just, quite frankly, like a 5-hour video on ambushes, like we'd love to make it. Micah, we'd love to make it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nobody would watch it.
No
so
one would watch it.
we're going to compartmentalize this stuff and start splitting it up to make sure that we can give you these nice little bite-sized pieces of information. Get out there. You need to learn more. You need to practice more. If you're not practicing this after watching this video and practicing other things that you know, you're in the wrong right here.
Yeah. Get your PT up. Get
So
your PT up.
Yeah.
get that
I'm going to
PT
keep
up.
saying it. It's the most critical component of surviving an ambush.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Adam, is there any good training resources you'd like to recommend to my viewers before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with your mindset. So the Ranger Handbook, I know it's kind of become
No,
cliche.
I read it all the time.
You should read it. It has a lot of good information in it, especially when we start talking about battle drills. It's kind of the holy Bible of battle drills. And then, there's a lot of training centers out there. I'm going to shamelessly plug Darcy. Of
course.
It's where I like to train. Rich Mason has a lot of information, especially when it comes to tactics and command and control. So if you can get out to any of those courses that he offers, that's a good place to definitely go train.
Absolutely, and you can't forget this little company called Onward Research.
Onward Research.
They're going to be running training out at this very range, in fact.
Yeah, for sure.
So things
a
to think
sick
about.
range.
Kind of beautiful.
It's a nice
Just inhale that nature and touch grass. All important things.
Touch
Turn to Christ. Don't forget
Cheap
about
and
that.
unlocked.
And cheap.
You touched grass today.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheap and unlocked.
Yeah, so Onward
You're so
Research
funny
as well.
sometimes. So guys, we're gonna end it right here. Get out there, train. We appreciate you guys so much, and we have nothing else for you. Final thing for you is going to be dad advice. So every time our favorite person gets to do dad advice, that's Adam today. Adam,
Thank
dad
you.
advice.
Dad advice. We're talking about like real dad advice? Yeah, like
Whatever
for
you want to
kids?
give, like
For
people,
kids?
yeah.
No, just
anything
any lost
for
people.
Yeah,
Talking to
lost
people.
lost people.
Lost people? I'm confused, dude. What am I supposed to say?
Well, like for example, we've told people to repent
time
and
with
turn
your
to
family.
Christ, or
Yeah.
spend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I find, dad advice. I find that hating yourself every morning is probably my go-to. So when you get up, you walk into the bathroom, you're urinating, just remember that you're incredibly flawed. And just do better because you're not better. So
Because you're not
There you
better.
go. Disappointed dad. Just another
disappointed
one.
dad. Yep.
If you lose the baseball game,
You're dead to
that's
me.
it.
Yeah, you're
You're
dead.
dead,
Yeah.
man.
You're not good enough is basically what I'm saying.
I started looking into this company because it was a staple in my childhood growing up.
No, that was amazing.
And at the end there, that wasn't Nick, by the way. That's not that
No,
lecture.
no.
Don't worry about that. It's fine. We're probably gonna watch that one next, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, perfect. Love it. Okay. That was really. I really want to watch the other 4 parts of that.
Yeah.
And just see what they're all
It's
about.
good.
It's really
It's
good.
good.
It's just good information. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, what I find when we're watching educational videos like this, I didn't say educational enough in this one.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much.
There wasn't as much education to cover.
That's
true. If you guys have no idea what we're talking about, watch
You
yesterday's.
gotta watch yesterday's
okay.
episode. I forgot what I was gonna say on that.
While you're thinking of that, I
missed it.
I do enjoy his last little bit of advice, though. At the end of the video, he goes, I wake up every morning just hating myself. And, it's... I understand what he's saying. It's maybe not put the best way, but, like, you're never going to be perfect, number one, and that's okay. But number two, that means you always have room to grow. So always look to learn new things, do new things. And, like, that's part of why I like watching this stuff. Am I ever going to put myself in a scenario where I could potentially be ambushed? Probably not. But is it I mean, look at what happened with Russia and Ukraine. Like, it's certainly possible anywhere in the world that could happen, and you may find yourself in a situation, and it's good to at least know the things. And so
not all of us are going to put ourselves in situations where you have to be out in the wilderness surviving on what's around you either, but yet here we are watching Bear Grylls and Survivor Man, like we watch that shit, and you do learn some. Oh, that's what I was going to say. When we watch the educational videos, cool, full circle. Here we go. I always learn, like, you learn things that when you see them or when you hear them, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like that makes a lot of sense. But if you were to be like thrust into one of these positions without having that, just I don't know, like just that enlightenment of just like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
You could potentially
Just
you freeze up
freeze
to
and
have
do
no
nothing.
idea. So it's
Yeah.
nice to just have that recollection. Your brain goes, oh yeah, I remember that video or that book or whatever it was that you read.
Yeah.
And this super simple thing that like makes sense when you're seeing it played out that you wouldn't ever think about if you were just in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always learn something like that.
Like I feel like if me and Matt were in some sort of situation, I could just yell bounding and he would know.
I'd know.
Like, what's
I'd know
up.
now. Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, it's educate yourselves, even if it's on something you don't think you'd ever use. I mean, hey,
You never know.
It doesn't hurt to know something.
You never know.
But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this and want to see us react to more of these, like I said, he has a multiple part series on becoming deadly in the mountains.
Yeah.
He also has a series on becoming deadly in urban environments. So he talks about
Beautiful.
like trying to lose tails like in the city and like if you're in a city, whether you know the buildings are perfect or maybe they've been shelled and they're all busted up, how you're gonna find shelter and like all that good stuff.
I would love to watch some of those, dude.
Yeah,
if you guys want to watch some of those with us,
Yes,
let us know, please.
Let us know, please.
It's cool. It's great
Yeah.
content. I love it.
I love it. It's
really good.
He also does interviews with some Ukrainian soldiers talking about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. And,
All right.
you know, now drones are a big thing. Not just the big drones that fly overhead like the UAVs, but they now are using like DJI drones
Yeah.
to drop grenades on soldiers and stuff.
Really?
And they're,
Wow.
you know, he was asking Ukraine, like, how has this changed the battlefield? The guy's like, it's crazy out there. It's madness. And so he talks about new tactics that haven't ever been used in the history of war that they're kind of figuring out and going through now.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
if you guys want to see any of that on our channel, please let us know down in the description. If you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as we did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, click the bell, become part of the notification gang, and we'll see y'all next time. Bow.
Yeah.